biology class, children. Hope you all are fine. Yes?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so in the last class, children, we were discussing about the sexual reproduction in plants. Okay, now today we'll be discussing it in detail. We had an introduction that day. We'll be discussing it in detail. I request you all to please put your videos off so that you can see what I'm doing on the board. Please put your videos off, all of you. Thank you. Now, children, sexual reproduction in plants. So that day I was telling you about the parts of the plant. Now I told you about the calyx, about the corolla. That is, the calyx refers to the sepal and corolla refers to the petals. Yes. So here we see that, see, these are the additional words. That sepal is meant for protection purpose in the bud stage, and the corolla, these are there for attracting the insects. They are colorful and they give a smell. Yes, so that is why they are for attracting the insects. Why they need to attract the insects, that we'll be talking about in the later topics, which we'll be doing it today itself. So the main words, which are the you can say the reproductive words, these are two. Yes, and they are the stamen and they are the pistil. Fine. So stamen is the male word, you can say, and it consists of, this is what we discussed that day. It consists of a filament and the anther. Filament and anther. Now these anther, children, these anthers, have you actually seen the anthers in the filament? If you get to have a rose plant, you can observe it.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, next structure, and on that you will see the same. Now, this anther, that day I told you that if you take this anther, if you keep it on a glass slide and you tap it with a needle and then you put a drop of water or glycerine and you observe it under a microscope, you will be able to see some powdery structure. Yes, powder jaisa dikhega ye to. And when you observe it under the microscope, you will be able to see the pollen grains. So these pollen grains are the male gamete. If you remember, we talked about the gametes, male gamete and the female gamete. Yeah. So in plants, when we talk about the male gamete is the pollen grain and the female gamete is the egg or the ovum. Fine. So since this is the male part, from here what will be produced? It will give out pollen grains, and the structure of the pollen grain is somewhat like this. This is the nucleus. So this is the structure of the pollen grain. Clear to everyone? This much?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Now when we talk about the female part, fine. The female is the pistil. What is it?
Pistil.
Pistil.
Pistil. And this pistil is divided into three parts: stigma, style, and the ovum. So this part, which is the stigma, this long neck-like part is the style, and this solid base portion, this is the ovum. Yes, and inside the ovary you see the ovules. I told you that this is going to produce the male gamete, and the same way this is the female part, so it is going to produce the female gamete, that is the egg or the ovum. It is called the egg or the ovum. Any problem till here?
No, ma'am, no problem.
No
Ma'am,
problem.
can you
Now
tell the
see.
spelling of ma'am? Ma'am,
Yes?
can you tell the spelling of the egg's other name?
Ovum, ovum, O-V-U-M. I have written it O-V-U-M. Are you able to see it or not?
Yes, ma'am. We can see it.
Ma'am, I can't hear you.
You cannot see it? Make sure that all
Ma'am,
of
can
you
you
have put
repeat the
your...
spelling?
Yes, of course. See, first of all, you open to page number 140 so that you can relate with what is given in the book and what I am telling. But right now, just concentrate on what I am telling, because then while matching, you will miss out some of the thing. OVUM, 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 that is ovum. Okay, so
Okay,
ovary,
ma'am.
this is the female part, that is, it consists of 3 parts. This is the pistil, complete name is the pistil. You have done this in class 6 also. Yes? And it is divided into 3 parts, that is stigma, style and the ovary.
Yes,
This
ma'am.
ovary, yes, the ovary has the ovule, which is called the female gamete. Similarly, this is the male part or the male wall, and this consists of 2 parts, that is the anther and the filament, and altogether it is called as stamen. So it is divided into 2, and this anther, it produces the male gamete, which is called the
Stamen.
pollen grain. Any problem till here?
No, ma'am.
No. Now,
Excuse me,
just
ma'am.
move on to yes.
No, ma'am.
Ma'am, in pistil, ma'am, which part produces egg?
It is the ovary. Just have a look. Now just wait. You will understand it better, because maybe you are not able to see the board clearly. That is why. Now come to page number 141 quickly, all of you. Quickly. And see. Can you see the diagram there? If you are not able to observe this, just have a look on the diagram which is given on page number 141. The first diagram, reproductive parts of a flower. Quickly have a look. Can you see it?
Yes.
Yes. Now here see the stigma, then you have the style, the long portion,
Yes,
the
ma'am.
neck portion, and then you have a base solid portion like this. And in this is called the ovary, the lower portion, and inside the ovary you can see the ovule. Can you see the ovule now? Just see. It can be single, it can be many. Now can you see, Iram?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
So this ovule is actually the female gamete, and the pollen grains are the male gamete. Any problem till here? Quickly tell me.
No, ma'am.
No problem? Okay.
Ma'am,
Now,
I have a.
huh?
Yes, ma'am, what are female gametes?
Ovum or egg. Egg कहते हैं या फिर ovum. Okay?
Okay, ma'am. Okay.
Yes. Now we move on to the now see when we how the reproduction takes place, how the mating of the gamete takes place. I told you that the one, all of you look at my hand now again, just recall what we did in the first class. I told you that male gamete, female gamete, they are going to fuse and they are going to form a new structure. Remember that? Male
Yes,
gamete,
ma'am.
Yes,
female
ma'am.
gamete, they are going to fuse. The fusion process is called fertilization, and they are going to form a new structure. Now, how this is going to happen? So before that, we need to know something. See, the flower can be now we need to know that which is the male flower, which is the female flower, how it is happening, or how, from where are these flowers coming? How do we understand? So we need to know about the terms, about the scientific terms regarding this. And for that, please come to page number 141. It says a flower may have either male part or only the female part. Yes, it may have only male part or it may have only female part. But in some of the flowers, we see that both the parts, the male part and the female part, both are present. So where we see only one part, whether it is a male or female part, we call those flowers as uni means one, unisexual flower, and which have both male and female part in one flower, so we call them as bisexual flowers. Now please just take a pencil in your hand and quickly come to the first line. A flower may have second line, the flowers that contain either only pistil or only stamen are called unisexual flower. Quickly underline that. Done?
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
Now come to the
Yes,
fourth
ma'am.
last line of the same paragraph. Fourth last line. The flowers that contain both stamens and pistils are called bisexual flowers. So this much I think is clear.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
So the examples are like for bisexual flower, where you see both the parts, that is China rose, mustard, lily, petunia, these are all bisexual flower, where you can see the male and the female part in the same flower. But unisexual, like you see banana, papaya, cucumber, these are all unisexual flowers. Fine. Now we talk about the other important term, which is pollination. See, we have talked about both the structures, the male and the female part. Now we are going to talk about, we have talked about the unisexual and bisexual flowers. Now we'll be talking about
Excuse me,
pollination, and after pollination, what happened?
Ma'am,
Yes,
I want
Prakhar.
to ask something. Ma'am,
Prakhar.
ma'am, flowers are unisex. Ma'am, the flowers are sexual or asexual?
We have talked about asexual reproduction. Now we're talking about sexual reproduction, but it is not compulsory that all the flowers have both male and female part. Understand? Yes, there are two types of flower. In one flower, both are present. If male and female both part are present, which we have discussed, then we call them as bisexual. Bi means two, binary fission. Yes, uni means one. And if only one part is present, either the male part or the female part, then we call it as unisexual flower. Are you understanding now, Prakhar?
Yes.
Okay, now we move on to the other topic, that is pollination, which is very very important. Now see children, अब अगर मेल और फीमेल दोनों अलग अलग हैं, yes, but for mating दोनों को मिलना है, तो मिलने के लिए they have to come close. And how they will come close? How the male part is going to reach the female part? This is a question. So for this we have a process, and that is called pollination. Pollination means the movement of the male gamete, the movement of this male gamete to the stigma of the, or the, you can say, the female to the female part. That is called pollination, and it is done by different agent. How can this is which is present here, how can it go, how can it reach here? So the pollination process helps in the movement of the from the male gamete to the stigma of the flower. This process is called pollination. Now quickly take a pencil in your hand and write, underline the transfer of pollen grains from the anther to the stigma, yes, of same or another flower is called pollination. Is that clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Now before I proceed, there is one more important thing that you need to keep in mind. यहाँ पर आपको ये ध्यान रखना है, is it the same plant? भाई एक plant है, उसमें भी बहुत सारे flowers हैं. Yes. So from one flower to another flower, एक ही plant में भी हो सकता है. It can be one plant. Yes. Like one plant is having supposing 5 flowers. So from out of these 5 flowers, the pollen grain can start from here and it can move to this. But the plant is the same. The plant is the same. Are you getting my point?
Yes, ma'am.
And the case that the pollen grain starts moving from here and it reaches the stigma of this one. So the plant is
Different.
Are you understanding my point? The plant is different. So when the plant is different and this process is taking place, we call it a cross pollination. When the plant is different and this takes place, we call it a cross pollination. And when the plant remain the same, it is happening in the same plant. Maybe the flowers are different, but of the same plant, then it is called self-pollination. So have you understood the difference between self and cross-pollination?
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am. Excuse me, ma'am.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes,
Yes,
Ma'am, I
Karthik?
ma'am.
have to ask.
Yes.
Ma'am, can it happen that a plant has 5 flowers and third flower is unisexual and the fourth is bisexual?
No, see, then that is what I was just about to tell you. See, now species remain the same. Species. अभी ये तीसरी बात बताने जा रही थी. Now understand. If, like see, I told you that a cat is going to give birth to the kittens only. A dog is going to
Yes,
give birth to the Puppies only? Human beings give birth to the human beings only, human babies only? The same way, a rose plant, on a rose plant, you will always find a rose flower. It cannot be that the rose flower, it involves the daisy and it reproduces new flowers. It's not like that. Though it is possible that you take a red rose flower plant and you take a supposing orange rose flower and you mix them and you find another color, that is possible. But the species remain the same. Banana, papaya, rose, apple, guava, वो एक ही होना चाहिए. Maybe it has five, but then all of the same, isn't it? So then it remains the same. The category remains the same. Karthik, is your problem solved, beta?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now we talk about so we have talked about the cross pollination. अब ये होता कैसे? हमने तो कह दिया कि yes, the movement takes place, the transfer takes place, but how the transfer is taking place? We need some agent for this. हवा चलती है बहुत तेज से, wind, and along with that wind, the pollen grains move. Yes, they move here and there. They settle on the stigma then later. So wind can be one reason. One reason. ये किस में होगा? Like the pollen grains which are light, which can move away with the wind. There, the pollination takes place with the help of the wind. So wind is the first agent of the pollination. Second, water. Again, sometimes it can be water. Along with the water, it can move. कौन से plants हो सकते हैं ज़्यादातर water वाले? Which are aquatic plant, or which the plants which are present near the seashore or near the water. Are you getting my point, children, all of you?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
So in the wind pollination, we see that wheat, grass, maize, these are the plants which produce very light pollen grains and they can be taken away with the wind. The same way water pollination, we see hydrilla, vallisneria, which you must have studied in your class 6 when we were talking about adaptation. So there you see these aquatic plants, of course, with which medium that pollen grains will transfer. पानी में है तो पानी से ही तो होगा. Yes?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
And then insect, of course. Now these insects, now I told you, अभी बताया था that beautiful color of the corolla, beautiful color of the petals, वो ऐसे ही नहीं होता है. It is to attract the insects. That insects will come, they will sit, and sometimes when they sit on the flower, yes, to get the nectar from it, or just to like that, just they visit. Then what happens? इनके पैरों में, इनके wings में pollen grain लग जाते हैं, चिपक जाते हैं, and when they fly to a distance, what happens? They take those pollen grain, they sit on some other flower and they will transfer along. They don't know that they are doing, but they do that. Unknowingly, they transfer the pollen grains from one flower to other flower. So these are some of the agents that help in the pollination. Now we'll see like beetles, flies, bats, these are the honeybees, moths, butterflies, bumblebees, these all are the examples of the insects that transfer the pollen grains from one to another. Is much clear to everyone, children?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Everyone?
Yes, ma'am.
Fine. Now just have a look at the other diagram which is given at the end of the page. Since the diagram you are not able to see properly, I'm showing it to you here with the help of the diagram which is given in the book. Now just have a look. See, the anther is there and the stigma is there. So when it may be that it is of the same flower, yes, and it may be that it is of the two flowers. So you see that from one, the butterfly, can you see that butterfly, beautiful butterfly? It is taking the pollen grain and it will drop it to the other. So cross pollination and it can be self pollination. Is this much clear to everyone, children?
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
So now they have reached. Now which process will take place? The male gamete is there, female gamete is there. Now which process? The other process. They are going to
Next, combined.
fuse. So next topic
Fuse.
which we will study is the fertilization process. How fertilization take place. That will be the next topic which we'll be talking about. So this is how we have come to the end of today's class, children.
Excuse me,
Again,
ma'am.
I repeat the same thing. Yes.
Ma'am, when you were teaching us that if a plant is there and it has 5 flowers, then the pollen grain of first flower, if it will go in the second flower, then it will say, we will say that it is happening self pollination. And if
Yes.
the pollen grains are going to the other flower of the plant, then it is the cross pollination. But ma'am, in the
If
last diagram in 141, ma'am, here it is showing that 2 flowers are uh, po- uh, in the two flowers the pollination is taking place, and this is cross pollination.
No, see again, understand. That is why I told you the basis of difference is the plant. If the plant is different, it is cross. If the plant is same, then it is self. एक ही फूल के स्टेमन और पिस्टल इन्वॉल्व हो सकते हैं, एक ही प्लांट के दो फ्लावर इन्वॉल्व हो सकते हैं, दैट इज सेल्फ. बट व्हेन द प्लांट चेंजेस देन इट बिकम्स क्रॉस. Iram, is it clear now?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So now children, in the next class we'll be talking about fertilization and the dispersal of the seed. So till we meet again, take care of yourselves children. Bye.
Thank
Bye,
you,
ma'am.
ma'am.